Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 24th of October 2019. Okay, so today we're going to run through some pairs, and we're also going to touch on something else that I'd like to bring your attention to, which is also very useful when trying to find those hard-hitting levels of supply and demand. Okay, so if we look at, first of all, this chart, you can see that there's a lot of trading in here. And we had a really sharp release. So we had a rally, accumulation, rally, and price reacted off at this level that we discussed a while ago, I think last week. Let's get that on there. We poked into that, and now we're moving away from that. Okay, so that's still in play. It's almost tested here, but price had been back. The reason we didn't take this one, so rather this one, is because price had already been back to this level here, and this is like the fresh area. And you can see here that if we take the average of the lows, we got something like here. Okay, tested once, twice, price sat on the area and then cut through. Distribution period left, went back to the beginning of the sell zone, which was here, and this is where we attracted some serious sellers. Okay, but if we look at this here, this is the origin of the whole move, and this is where price reacted at. Well, from here down to where price left this area, this is not a very clear area. It's really nice to be able to see the period at which this buying pressure started, okay? Because here, I mean, if you focus on the 1 hour chart, you can't really see what's going on a macro level. And so there's another piece of software that you guys have access to that you can see here, and this is the multi intra candles, and it's called multi because it shows many intra candles. So here on this chart, we're on the hourly chart. We can't see the hourly candles, but we can see the 4 hour blue, daily red, and weekly orange, and these are the colors that you guys all know from the Pipnotic software. So price rallied, we moved sideways, we pulled back the slingshot, we rallied, accumulated, and then we cut away. And so if you look at this, we had weekly candles here, they were here, price had here, price came up, we tested it, we left, we came back up, we sat on the area, and then we cut through. The buying started at the open of last week, and so this is where our entry is going to be. And if we have a look at that here, it's difficult to see on this chart where we might want to put our entry. My gut feeling still tells me to put it here, and I might put it there depending on what price is doing when it's moving down here. But looking on this time frame shows us where this buying starts. Okay, and you can see that we had the close of 2 weeks ago, stopped here, we had the weekend, price open here, the slingshot was pulled back, and then we had a massive departure. So if we look at this little price area, which I like, and the reason I like this is because we had a lot of testing of this area. See a bunch of tests, and price rallied onto it, and then we cut through. So this is, to me, the better trade. I'll put it right there, just below this. And if we look here, you can see this is pretty much where the slingshot for last week would pull back to before the departure. Okay, so super interesting, I think, when you're trying to gauge an understanding of what's happening on your entry time frame, which could be the hour, but also what's going on in the bigger time frames, because this is showing where these huge flows are. You can see here we had a weekly candle of selling. We had a weekly accumulation, distribution candle, and then price left. Where did price go back to? It went back to the weekly accumulation. Okay, it went back to it right there. And if we enable this, you can see price poked into it, and then we left. So I really recommend that you guys start using this piece of software as well if you're not using it. And here you can also see very clearly that, yeah, we had weekly accumulation. We had, if we mark that off, let's go like that. Where's the bottom of it? Here it is, the blue line, and then we had the testing here, here, and then here, and now this one is gone. This candle, the slingshot was pulled back, and then it cut through it, and it originated from this area just down here, as we can see. You could take the this accumulation candle, and this is an accumulation candle. We've got the white top here. This is also one here. This is the lower one, and this is the higher one. So there is a continuation pattern on the weekly chart, sorry, that you can't see when you're looking at the hourly chart as we are. And so we had price move up, we moved sideways, and then we moved up. And the close of this week is above the high of the previous week, hence the disconnected accumulation candles that you can see here. Okay, so keep your eye on this level here. This is the, I can't even see what that is. That's the 10995 area. I think we might have a bit of a bounce there. If we get there, we might be happy moving into this price range here, which is the low before this daily push higher. And if we look at what that looks like, you can see that we had the close of this candle, and then we had nothing happening Monday, nothing happening Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, boom, boom, boom. And so I'm thinking we might not go below here, which was my initial analysis. So we can have a couple of, maybe if you want, you could have half a position here or a slice of it here and the rest down here. But you'll have to use your own discretion. I think because of all the trading in this area and because of the sheer beauty of this, I'm probably going to do this. But also notice that this trade has already happened. It left, price came down, and we departed, we accumulated, and then we departed. And so this price imbalance has already been rebalanced, so there's no need to rebalance that. Hence my initial interest to buy here, which is at this really nice place just here. You can see we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, nothing happened. Thursday price moved higher, Friday price moved higher. The week opened, we did nothing on Monday and Tuesday, and on Wednesday we cut, and we had 3 days of trading. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday price took off, and it originated from here, which we can see just here. Okay, so the software has already marked it off for us. We have, let me get rid of those. We have the daily demand here, we have a 4-hour demand, and we have nested 1-hour demand, a couple of them in there. If we have a look at those, you can see they look like this. Not a terribly pretty or clear area, but we certainly have, if we focus a little bit on what this is telling us. So we had this, which is gone. Okay, we had tests here. One test here. You know, that's not a big enough, strong enough test, so I'm going to move it down to here. Test there, test there. This one went through it. The area that removed that is up here. Kind of this whole area here. It kind of went through it there. We had a test, we had a push, we had a push, we had a test here, test here, test here, test here, and this one traded above it, and the origin is just down here. So we've moved this down into here. This is kind of where the origin of that move is. And also notice that we have some micro supply and demand here. Not pretty, but we do have it. We have testing, 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 almost all the way through. Take the average of the highs. We had some tests there, almost. Then this one cut through it. The origin of the move is here. This is the one that did it, but the origin is lower. So you could even do something like that, 2 times the area, which will put our entry there. Let's remove this one. Let's have a look, see what that looks like. There. So we do have this here because we had all these highs, price couldn't get through. Finally it got through, and it did so here. So price went up, we moved sideways, and then we left, and we have not been back since. So this is also an interesting area to keep your eye on. So there are a few areas here depending on your risk appetite. I'll probably move that a little bit lower, where the entry right there. So we have something that looks a little bit like that. This is a nice area here. This is kind of the meat of it, as you can see here, but you can see the area that the 4-hour candle left from. It's actually right there. So you could move it there, which will bring it to the area that we highlighted here. the slingshot was pulled back and then it left. So a couple errors. I'll leave it at exactly like this and we'll see what happens. I got my stop down here. Even down here, if it does come down, it's probably not going to come all the way down here, maybe to the child, but we'll have to see. But the whole move originated kind of from here. This is where the cutaway is from. The slingshot was pulled back to here and then we left. So yeah, enough about that. So that's what we have on that one. If we zoom out even more, zoom out, fresh, cool. So we've got that. Let's have a look at the dollar Japanese yen. So we have a similar thing going on. This is we've already talked about this one. We had some trading here. This area here tested, chart was tested, this area tested, and price dumped through it. This is gone. This is the one that did it. It's tested once, tested twice, and then this one cut through. The area that did that is here. Okay, so we have our eye on this one. Our stop is 2 times the size, which brings it down to there. This is nice. And also notice that we have a gap. No, we don't have a gap. It's just that the coloring was this candle is not colored. But we have just like test wicks going here, and then we had that really nice strong push higher. So I think that we'll probably have a bit of a bounce down there. And there's nothing that's interesting down there. Everything is rebalanced. This is the only one that needs rebalancing. So expecting price to have a bounce there. Okay, let's have a look at the pound, American dollar. What do you have here? Got a 4 hour. So when you look at this and you think, oh, I don't understand what's going on there. But if you have a look here, then you can see a little bit of clarity. You can see price has already been up to this area, and this is actually where the weekly cutaway was. Price cut away from there. This is the high of it. We poked into that. This is where we turned, right there. And this is what we're currently contending with. Sorry, English is my best. So we have a push higher, and we have the tops here, and then we have, this is not terribly clear, but you can see we have Monday did nothing, Tuesday did nothing, Wednesday we had the cutaway, and the high of the cutaway is here. So if we enable this, you can see that we have test, support becomes resistance, and then we leave. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting area for that reason. Yeah, we'll see. It's not a beautiful position, but we're close to the top, so we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Okay, let's have a look at the dollar CAD. So what do we have here? Oh, we have something up here that looks a little bit interesting. The reason it does is because we had some tests here. We had the push, slingshot was pulled back, the drop price low. If we look at what that looks like, you can see this is happening at this area where these 2 weeks changed. And so we had the close below the lows from the previous week, you can see, and the week opened here. Okay, we have price moving lower, moving sideways. So Monday nothing happened, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then this is where we had the big cutaway. And so you could do like this, or you could do like this, which is where the slingshot was pulled back to. And I like to be focusing on the best possible price, and so I'll put it at my entry just here. So price is currently running away, which is nice, but we'll see if price manages to come back at some stage. This is not too far away, I don't think. Maybe some days or maybe a week. The Aussie American dollar, I mean, here we had some nice tests here. Let's do this properly here. So we had this nice area here. When price left here, and we had price testing, and we had this rally into it, accumulation, and then the explosion. And the origin of that is right here. We have the size here, 2 times the size brings our stop down here. So I like that a lot. Also notice that, we zoom out, We also have kind of these highs that are getting higher, which I like, and we have price kind of testing something up in here. We tested it once, so we're kind of like establishing a low. No closes below these lows really. And then we had these higher lows, and so we're seeing some pressure to move higher, which I like, which is good for the Aussie dollar. So I'm thinking we're probably going to move up into kind of around kind of this area here before we start to wriggle lower, if we do. So I think I just like this area. It's a very nice clean breakaway, so we'll leave that in there like this. And here you can see, I mean, we had accumulation for a week, accumulation for a week, accumulation for a week. This one is not a part of this one, so we have continuation patterns within here that you can kind of see. Continuation pattern and continuation pattern, rally, accumulation, rally, deep pullback, and then release. And we have this very small continuation pattern here. We can see on the 4-hour chart, see that little white dot there, that's the 4-hour accumulation. Then we had massive boom, 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 like shotgun departures from the station there. And we had the close here. Sorry, the open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. And so this is where we had a really nice push. And we had the pause and the reloading just about here. So I think we'll have a bit of a bounce around there. We have a look here at the dollar Swiss franc. This is kind of a funky one, I think. If looking at this, it's kind of all over the place. There's no real clarity. I still like this level up here, kind of the departure, the pullback, and then the release. But we're still pretty far away from price. But if you look here, we do have something in here. I gotta find the clarity here. So let's do it properly. So you can see here this wick is going to be like a parent in here. It's like this, like that. Okay, tested once, tested twice, tested 3 times, and then chunk chunk, slingshot, dump. But this happened after this was released. This was just price reacting down here, loading up to move through here. So we had a test, 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 slingshot, dump. So we're probably going to have a bounce around here. I just like this one because there's just a very clear support for price, and then a violation of that price level. You can see that very clearly here. Okay, this level is respected, and then we had this price sitting on it, and then departure. So I think that's a pretty interesting area. I'm expecting price to go a little bit deeper, maybe up into here, because the slingshot was pulled back to here before the departure. So I may or may not move it up there, depending on what price looks like once it gets up there. But I give myself a pretty big stop, so there's plenty of room for price to wriggle before it figured out what it wants to do. But on the hourly chart, it just looks nice and clear. We just have this really nice kind of distribution accumulation thing going on there. So we'll leave that in there and see what happens. Cool. Well, that's that. Once again, have a look at this indicator. It's really cool. Kind of gives you a lot of insight as to what's going on with the major flows. And you can see that, I mean, this week of serious bearish order flow originated from up here, which is where I have my entry. So the detail here and the more kind of fundamental macro overview on the other time frame using the multi intra-candles software. So give it a shot, have a look at it. Have any questions, either comment in the video or in the chat forum. Thanks for watching.